Hello and welcome, my dear friends, once again. We are going to discuss about Feathered Friend by Arthur C. Clarke. It's a very simple theme and summary, the central idea of the lesson of Feathered Friend by Arthur C. Clarke. It is a science fiction. It's a short story about a small canary, means a bird, and how her existence on the space station helped to save lives. So now we'll see what are the main characters which we see. One is Sven Olsen. At first, who thought as a 6 foot 6 inch Nordic construction worker in space, but he's a really very little fellow. Second important character is Claribel, who's a small yellow canary. Then there's a narrator who's narrated the story for us. He's a worker on the space station. And the last important one is Jock Duncan, the cook, doctor, and dietitian on the space station. So, I'll tell you the explanation, I'll describe you the lesson. The first part of section 1. The narrator says that he is unaware of a regulation that prevents pets from being on the space station, that Sven would ignore it anyway. Sven was the best space construction worker on the space station at the time, with a very little fellow. He was a very little fellow, which got him a bonus for being under 150 pounds. Unlike his earthbound counterpart, Sven could step back and look at his work without fear of falling off the building. Sven was smart to have Claribel as a pet because it took close to nothing to support her. The author found Claribel after hitting his head in an angle beam. He saw Claribel for the first time, although he had been hearing her. Claribel, the canary, found out how to make her way in zero gravity and was efficient at it. Sven did not own up to her being his pet at first, but did bring her up from the ferry from Earth after leave. Sven then said that he had brought her from Earth as a science experiment. They didn't have any trouble hiding her from VIPs from Earth, as they always had explanation for the noises that she made, even when Claribel was upset. The narrator woke up one day with a headache and was slow to do morning activities. Sven was missing from breakfast because he was looking for Claribel. Claribel was found in a stunned state, and Jock Duncan could not hear a heartbeat. Someone said to give her some oxygen from an oxygen face mask, which served as an oxygen tent for Claribel. The oxygen sea revived Claribel, and she called everyone to breakfast but passed out again. Oh God, I'm so sorry. The narrator notices that Claribel was passing out because of the air being bad. An air purifier had frozen, and a single $500,000 alarm failed to go off. Claribel had served everyone's lives. The narrator says if one is ever on a space station, to not be surprised and alarmed if there was bird song recognized for the bird is only as cheap backup alarm system. There's some other notes also, which I shall tell you, read it out for your convenience and knowledge. This story may be a story about the weak being strong and the least expensive being the most valuable. Sven probably would not have been a construction worker on Earth, and Claribel was overlooked as a possible alarm system because of her cost being so cheap. Arthur C. Clarke is well known for science fiction stories. So, in the story, Claribel is an invaluable alarm system, but something else that the story brings out is how Claribel was a boost in morale for the space station and became the general pit. So, my dear guys, hope you have understood a little, at least, if not more, about the feathered friend. It's a canary, a type of bird which gave the warning, which gave an alarm by which the lives of many people in the space station was rescued, was safeguarded, and the life she sacrificed for the welfare of mankind. And also it shows the error of science, that the science is not supreme. So please now let us watch a video on the same topic.
So, Feathered Friend is a short story written by Arthur Clarke, and it is a science fiction about a small canary. Canary is a bird, and how her existence on the space station helped save lives of the crew member. So, I have used one word over here, that is science fiction. So, what is the meaning of fiction? Fiction is not true, and non fiction is true. So, this is the simplest way of defining fiction and non fiction. Non fiction involves real things, real people, real events, real places, and real writing. However, fiction is just imaginary things, imaginary people, imaginary events, imaginary places, and imaginary writings. So, I hope the difference between fiction and non fiction is clear to everyone. So, it is a science fiction. So, before starting this lesson, let's first discuss about the characters. So, the first character is Sven Orson, who is a construction worker in space. Second one is Claribel, a small yellow canary bird. Third one is narrator, who is narrating or a worker on the space station. Fourth one is Jim, another worker who looks after the technical devices or technical department. So the narrator says that he is unaware of a regulation that prevents pets from being on a space station, and that Sven would ignore it anyway. And who was Sven? Sven was the best space construction worker on the space station. Now, Sven was smart to have Claribel as a pet because it took close to nothing to support her. The author found Claribel after hearing noise from the angle beam. There, he saw Claribel for the first time, although he had been hearing her before also. Now, everybody started liking Claribel, and Claribel, the canary, found out how to make her way in zero gravity and was efficient at it. Now, the question was, from where did a bird came in the space station? Now, Sven did not own up to her being his pet at first, but did bring her up from a ferry from Earth after leave. So, Sven was the only one who had brought Claribel in the space station. Now, Sven said that he had brought her from Earth as a science experiment. Now, they didn't have any trouble hiding her from VIPs from Earth, as they always had explanation for the noises that she made even when Claribel was upset. Right? So, one day, the narrator woke up with a headache and was slow to do morning activities. And Sven was missing from breakfast because he was looking for Claribel. And Claribel was found in a stunned state, and Jim could not hear its heartbeat. So someone said to give her some oxygen from an oxygen face mask, which served as an oxygen tent for Claribel because they keep oxygen cylinders in the space station. So what happened? That the oxygen revived Claribel, but she passed out again. So the narrator notices that Claribel was passing out because of the air being bad, and air purifier had frozen, and the single $500,000 alarm failed to go off. So Claribel had saved everyone's lives. Lastly, the narrator says if one is ever on a space station, so he or she should not be surprised or alarmed if there was a bird in the space station, as the bird is only there as a cheap backup alarm system. So, in this lesson, who was the feathered friend? The answer is obvious that Claribel was the feathered friend in this lesson because Claribel had saved the lives of the crew members when the single $500,000 alarm failed to go off. I hope this is clear to everyone.